It is my great pleasure to introduce some speakers today. I'll be chairing the morning session. The first speaker is my boss, not directly, but still, you're my boss's boss's boss, whatever it is. Paul James, who is the CE of DIA here. He asked me specifically not to oversell him. So that's Paul James. He wears many hats, and he's going to be speaking in one of his capacities as the government chief digital officer. Will you have time for questions afterwards? One or two? Yeah, one or two quick questions. So, Paul James.
Morena koutou, na mihi o tara kia koutou katoa. Ka mihi kia koutou, kua whakaroika mai a tinana, a wairoa, ki te whakamana I tēnei kaupapa whakaherehera, tēnei te mihi kia koutou. Na mihi mahana kia koutou. So, as you heard, my name's Paul, and it's my pleasure to be here this morning as part of the Govis conference. Mick, can I start by thanking you for both introduction, but actually for the work to keep Govis going, to provide leadership to Govis and to this event, and can I thank everyone who participates, the organising committee. Govis has been around a long time now and has been making a difference across and around the public service, and it's important we have things like this, so big ups to Govis. I think it's fair to say that there'll be a high level... Thank you. Sorry, a bit softly spoken at times. I think it's fair to say that this will be an audience with a high level of knowledge, and many of you will have a good sense of the things I will speak about. But I'm going to give you a bit of a scan across digital government from the perspective of the Government Chief Digital Officer. It's fair to say that technological change continues to advance rapidly and at pace. We've been saying that for a long time. We've been saying it transforms daily life, but it hasn't stopped. It's continuing to do exactly that. And if anything, the pace of change continues to accelerate. I was with a group of GCDOs from around the world about 2 years ago, talking about AI, and the sense there was, what's the hype cycle like? This is going to be pretty dramatic, but it will be across 5 to 8 years. A year later, everyone's saying, can't believe the pace of change. It's not 5 to 8 years, it's here now, and it's moving faster than we expected. So technology is still with us and still moving quickly. And that has an impact on New Zealanders, the way New Zealanders consume services, the way they consume information, their expectations of government, and we need to respond to those expectations. We serve the public, and in serving the public, we need to be responsive to the public. So I'm the mandated system lead for digital, so that's under public service legislation by the Public Services Commission. That means that I provide leadership to the public service system, around the direction and expectations for digitising government. I'm also the public sector lead for AI. My job there is chief cheerleader for AI and encouraging people to grab hold of the challenge and the opportunity. Of course, GCDO is not actually just a person, it is actually a function. So I don't do all the work, it won't surprise anyone to know. There is a branch in the Department of Internal Affairs. There's some of our kaimahi in the audience here. Digital Services branch that supports me in that work and undertake a whole lot of activity as a result. So we aim to provide modern digital government and digital government services. We need things like digital foundations, and we have work in several areas to support those digital foundations. Starts with customers, of course, and the customer service. Although importantly, our focus as GCO is the public service. That's our key customer. Of course, we care about our customer's customer and the end user, but our focus is very much on public service agencies. Digital identity, artificial intelligence, these are foundational building blocks for digitalising government. And GCDO's role is really, what are the foundational building blocks or the big barriers that need removing? Actually, digital government is delivered by agencies, by people throughout the public service. We also focus on important enablers, what we call digital foundations. Things like getting to reusable digital components across the public service, thinking about the digital investment processes that run in the public service. Collectively, this is often called digital public infrastructure, a term that increasingly pops up. So we need strong digital foundations. like AI, cloud, digital identity, but we also need to be collaborative and interoperable. We have to work across the public service. We've got the backing of our Minister, Judith Collins, who's Minister for Digitalising Government Services. She's got priorities around customer service experience, digital identity and artificial intelligence. I think the point I really want to make is in thinking about customers and customer service, we have to recognise that no New Zealander is only a customer of one public service agency. All New Zealanders are going to interact with multiple points of the public service. So New Zealand public service is actually quite highly digitised. We don't always give ourselves the recognition for that, but you can engage with the government departments digitally almost everywhere. There are very few government processes that are primarily paper-based. One or two corners are still, but on the whole, we're digitised. We have gone digital. But it's pretty incoherent and fragmented. Those digitised services do not connect well, and customers have to leap around them and across them and still find ways to join them up. So if digitising government's about putting people first and thinking about customers, that's the big challenge we have to look at, is how do we actually connect, integrate and enable services to be seamless for customers. So foundations, building blocks, but that customer experience really has to be increasingly about integration, connection. One of the areas of focus for us has been a service modernisation roadmap, which you may be familiar with. That's been underway for about 18 months or so. We're just up to putting in place the second annual program around service modernisation. Up there on the slide, you can see the four kind of foundational pieces of the framework, so service experience, reusable components, foundations, and then capability or doing digital well. This has been a really important initiative for us. We started 18 months ago when it was clear there was no new money coming in necessarily to digital in the public service, but we had to do things differently. So we put in place a roadmap. We worked with agencies to find what were they already doing and how could we do it connected together or in ways that actually create a bit more benefit for the public as a whole and the public service. First version has been more successful than we hoped. It's really, I think, added and changed the way the public service is thinking about digital and some of those agencies that have initiatives on the roadmap. And positively, what we expected to happen has happened. As we get to the second version of that, agencies are queuing up to get on that program. And all the things on that service modernisation roadmap are not just one agency, they all require a point of intersection or working across agencies. A couple of examples of things that will start to feature on the next service modernisation roadmap. DIA's Identity Check Service, which is a digital identity proofing onboarding service. GCDO's delivery of an AI search assistant for the government web domain, and the Digital Identity Trust Framework's work around developing digital identity credentials. Lots of good digital work happening across the public service, and the roadmap is a way to profile some of that, to tell the success stories of what agencies are doing as well. I wanted to touch on the all-of-government digital portfolio, which is a core service for GCDO, and that's us essentially on behalf of the public service centrally procuring, securing, resilient, fit-for-purpose digital service for all of government. This is hugely important because if we want to have a customer experience that is consistent and coherent across all these services, the services themselves need to be able to work off common infrastructure or to work and talk with each other. We won't just get there by APIs. We have to do a bit more than that. So getting on to things that are coherent and interoperable and work together, this portfolio is a way to do that. So in the last 12 months, there was a spend of around just over $1 billion on that portfolio now from over 300 organisations. And as a result, there was $100 million per annum savings last year for the public service. This is growing about 10 to 15% per year, the spend that's going through it, and the savings as a result. So it really matters for the public service in terms of doing digital. It's an important bit of plumbing, if you like, or wiring in behind the scenes, but it's hugely important. Just to bring that to life, I just wanted to talk a little bit about a core example of that, which is back office and work we have underway around back office. So it's not a huge proportion of digital spend back office, but we're in the process at the moment. We've got a back office digital transformation initiative. We're basically working closely with industry, leveraging off the all-government common process model that came out of the IR transformation that we now own as GCDO, and putting in place a panel of certified suppliers of back office services that in the future public service agencies will just select one of those providers. We're estimating 160 million savings over 10 years, so it's material and worth doing, but most importantly, it means that public service agencies will get onto simplified and standardised back office. That opens then potential for future transformation using AI or other tools in terms of the way that the public sector operates. At the moment, we don't have a common chart of accounts. At the moment, if we want to get reporting on money across many public agencies, it's manual, out from Treasury and a response from agencies. We get onto standardised, simplified systems, common systems. All of a sudden, it becomes a game changer in terms of how information flows, reduces costs as agencies aren't updating or going through complicated requirements gathering exercises. Just spend a bit of time on that because it's an example. It's not really it's a means to an end rather than an end in itself, because it's showing the public service how do we do digital and how do we do it differently as a public service rather than agency by agency. Turning to digital identity, keys to the door for a different experience for New Zealanders of public services digitally. So it's been an important priority for us for several years. We've been putting in place lots of the foundational pieces, in particular the Digital Identity Services Trust Framework, which has got a legislative mandate and behind it. Took a couple of years to get that legislation through, set up the regulations, the framework, etc. We're starting to get to the point now where we're seeing real public momentum in that. Digital identity, we're taking the approach of a decentralised, federated digital identity. We're not building a single identity product. Instead, we want New Zealanders to have control and access of their own digital identity and their identity attributes themselves, and enable that to be joined up around services by public and private sector. So what does that look like? I'll just give you an example. In May, we launched the New Zealand Verify app, which enables in-person digital credential verification. What does that mean? That means that Australians coming out from Queensland, where they have a digital driver's licence, can have their driver's licence verified by a New Zealand rental car company and go straight into renting a car using that digital driver's licence. There's 16 American states have digital driver's licences. We're working one in New Zealand with NZTA ourselves, but you start to see the promise of that. So no longer carrying around a hard copy driver's licence. It's on your phone, in your wallet, alongside your other identity credentials and attributes in the palm of your hand. It's a major step forward. Also just want to touch on another important initiative for us, which is an all-of-government app. This is a real priority for Minister Collins. It's flagship for her. We're working with New Zealand companies to build a New Zealand app that provides a safe digital wallet to hold accredited digital credentials, potentially a digital driver's licence, enable a way for New Zealanders to consume services, to link some existing digitalised services to that app. Also looking to build in functionality around secure messaging and also payments for New Zealanders to make payments to government to access services. We're not planning for this app to be the single app for all of government. We don't think that's the right approach, but we do think there's a real opportunity for there to be a single app which has some of those more common, ubiquitous, high-volume transactional services in one place. But we also, again, think it's an opportunity and an example for the public service to learn how to do digital differently, for agencies to step away from their own agency-centric channels and to focus on a channel that's not owned by them but focuses around the customer. So it's about changing how we work as a public service. Just touch on AI. It's very hard to speak about digital without speaking about AI these days. I'm the warm-up act for Richard Foy. He's going to talk much more knowledgeably and interestingly about AI. Some of you I know will have been at the AI Accelerator event in Parliament recently that we held. And I've already mentioned that AI is upon us and moving faster than we all expected. It will be hugely transformative, but it is also hard going for the public service because it relies on us having our data in order, and it's not. It relies on us being on modern infrastructure, and we're not all. But nonetheless, we need to take steps now to build our capability around AI, to understand the potential, to build our in-house capability so we can think about how do we deploy. So we're just saying to everyone, start. Make a start on AI. Make a start now. What we know would happen and is happening is where agencies are starting in administrative efficiencies. The risk profile is really low at the moment on where agencies are deploying AI, so we're not too worried about the risks. The bigger risk is that we wouldn't be moving, so we need to move into AI. We've just completed a survey of public service adoption and use of AI. There's 272 AI use cases reported by participating agencies. Got a slightly wider group of agencies, but this is a replay of a survey we did 12 months ago. Then I just used a comparator group of agencies. There were 108 use cases. We're at 207 now. So basically doubled the number of use cases in 12 months running across the public sector. About half of those are in administrative efficiency, so you can see, and about another quarter not in personal administrative efficiency, but back into the technology and how the technology is being operated or not. Pleasingly, 55 of those AI use cases are now in full operation. It's not design build, but they're actually in operation. I think we're really expecting to see lots of change on AI, and it's going to come to us through vendors, it's going to come to us through new products, and we have to be aware and smart about what it means for our agencies. We have to build our own data governance and awareness, our own AI capability, our policies, our systems, so that we're able to take use of that technology, but equally so that the technology doesn't take use of us. We'll see vendors deploying without seeking consent into agencies if we're not careful, so you have to be really aware of your environment and how things are coming in. So look, I'm going to start to wrap up there because I just wanted to give you a bit of a taster of digitising government, the way we think about things in terms of GCDO focusing on the public service, but ultimately it's all about New Zealanders and what they experience from government. That it's not just about that service experience. When we talk about the digitising government portfolio that Minister Collins holds, it's actually digitising government. So not just government services, but it's actually digitising the way government operates. And that means we have to rethink everything. Funding, accountability, into the core wiring, plumbing and architecture of how the public service works. Because that's what we do when we digitise a service, that's what we need to do when we digitise government. And that's not straightforward. I've left myself a little bit of time, Mac, for a couple of questions.
Great. A few questions did come up on Slido, and I'm going to paraphrase them. I'm going to take a couple of them, and I'm going to present them to Paul. So if your question wasn't the one that I'm highlighting, I'm sorry. And if I'm paraphrasing and misrepresenting your question, again, sorry. But, you know, if you're upset with the way I'm doing this, join the committee. Challenge me for the spot. Two things. The first one is think about AI and the AI strategy. What would you say at this point are the biggest barriers to adoption, the things that can give the strategy teeth so we can move forward?
Look, in my kind of very simplistic framing, the big barriers we see is sufficiency. We're fine. We're okay. I'm not sure we really need AI. Confusion. Which tool? Where do we go? And then just inertia around the existing technology and digital setup. So hence why we really recommend to agencies just make a start. Find somewhere small. Yes, it's going to be transformative, but don't seek to access AI to transform everything right now. Just start to build awareness, start to build your policies, start to build your governance, and start building processes within your organisation to trial and try. And then that's the way to find your way through. Actually, we're okay, because you won't be. Or it's confusing. Yes, it is. That's why you just start small and start somewhere.
Thank you. The second question I thought was kind of throw you under the bus here. Again, I'm behind the lectern. You mentioned most processors are digital or becoming digital. If you had a magic wand and a bucket of money, right, which non-digital processes in government would you just dream a little bit, think what is the sticking point for you? What is the thing you'd like to see change?
It's a great question, Mac. Look, I'll pick out a couple of things. I find it hard to just have one answer to important questions like that. The thing I'd change would be the data flows in the public service. So they're not manual, but they are not automated. We don't have a flow of data across the public service. It's very point by point. It's sticky, it's clunky. But even then, our data is not collected in a standardised way. It's not classified in a standardised way. We haven't set ourselves up for success. So I really worry about data in the New Zealand public service. I think it's a great challenge for us. And it has not been a strong focus for GCDO, but we are about to start turning much more focus to data to the point of services and what it means for that. The other thing is I know Ministry of Justice is doing great work at the moment around transforming some of the functions and operations of the court. It's probably one of the last real bastions of manual processes still, and still paper-based in some places in the courts, but they've got programs of work underway around that. So I think that will be really important for New Zealanders to have more digitisation through that system.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Hi, James, everybody.